With the new Scottish Premiership season knocking at the door and crucial European qualifiers already heating up the calendar, Rangers are wasting no time. The sense of urgency at Ibrox is clear. Russell Martin knows exactly what's at stake. Domestic glory is one thing, but European football is a whole different battlefield, and the club is moving fast to strengthen in all areas before the action kicks off for real. And today we have some serious movement to talk about. A key piece of transfer business appears to be edging closer to completion, and is coming straight from one of the most trusted names in the game, Fabrizio Romano. When he drops the "here we go" fans listen, and Rangers supporters should be paying attention now more than ever. According to Romano, a deal is on the verge of being finalized that could inject fresh energy and talent right into the heart of Russell Martin's squad. We're talking about a player who's been turning heads down south and now seems destined to wear the famous blue shirt, Mikey Moore. The 18-year-old from Tottenham is considered one of Spurs' top young talents, and he's reportedly all in on the idea of making the move north. It's set to be a straight loan until the summer of 2026, with Spurs covering his wages and no option to buy included. For Rangers, this could be the perfect boost ahead of a grueling stretch of fixtures. And let's be honest, timing here is everything. Between the Premiership opener and looming Champions League qualifiers, Martin needs his squad ready, hungry and deep. If all goes to plan, Moore could be in the mix just in time to feature. Now, while fans are buzzing about this potential addition, there's also frustration brewing around another target, Crystal Palace youngster Jesurun Rak-Sakyi. Rangers have been keen on securing the England youth international, ideally on loan with a possible option to buy. But that move has hit a snag. Palace manager Oliver Glasner has made it clear his squad is too thin to allow any departures unless reinforcements come in. Speaking to Austrian media, Glasner didn't hold back admitting he feels let down by the club's lack of transfer activity this summer. He's sitting on just 17 outfield players and says if the club waits until deadline day again, they risk another slow start. Not exactly the words Rangers fans wanted to hear regarding Rak-Sakyi, especially with the player currently nursing a knock from a recent friendly against Crawley Town. Russell Martin, when asked about the rumors played it cool. He admitted he likes Rak-Sakyi, even tried to bring him to Southampton, but didn't confirm how close a deal really is. What stood out in his comments, though, was a clear focus on mindset over profile. "We just need players with the right mentality that are desperate to come and play here," Martin said. And that's where Mikey Moore seems to tick all the boxes. A raw but exciting talent hungry for first-team football and ready to prove himself on a bigger stage. It's the type of signing that shows ambition, and it's exactly what Rangers need right now. Because let's not forget, the fixture list is brutal. The Champions League second leg against Panathinaikos is on the immediate horizon, and despite carrying a 2-goal cushion from the first leg, there's no room for complacency. Martin has been clear the plan isn't to sit back and defend. At Rangers, every game is one you try to win no matter the context. And even beyond this European tie, the possibility of facing the likes of Servette or Victoria Plzeň, or even Shakhtar Donetsk or Besiktas if things go sideways, shows just how fine the margins are at this level. Depth, experience, and adaptability will be key. That's why every single addition matters, and as the clock ticks, Rangers are pushing to get the Moore deal across the line so he can be registered in time. It's not just about filling out the squad, it's about building a team that can compete, really compete, on multiple fronts. Now, while eyes are on the arrivals, the exits are just as important. One name that's headed for the door is midfielder Jose Cifuentes. The Ecuadorian, once hyped as a game changer from Los Angeles FC, never really found his stride at Ibrox. After short spells in Brazil and Greece, the writing seems to be on the wall. Rangers are not interested in another loan. They want a permanent deal. Cifuentes still has 2 years left on his contract, but it's clear he's not in Martin's plans. Reports from Brazil suggested Sport Recife might be in talks, but from what we understand, that's not accurate. There are clubs from Europe and North America circling, but as of now, no deal is finalized. Cifuentes isn't the only one on the chopping block. Ross McCausland has agreed to a loan switch to Aris Limassol in Cyprus, linking back up with former teammates like Connor Goldson and Leon Balogun. And he's not alone. Robin van Persie, who recently completed his return to FC Twente, also joins the list of players moving on. Add Ben Davies and RIDVAN YILMAZ to the mix, and it's clear that Martin is determined to reshape the squad entirely. This isn't just a few tweaks. This is a rebuild, one that demands both precision and urgency. And speaking of urgency, let's circle back to Mikey Moore. The excitement around this kid isn't just hype. Spurs boss Thomas Frank confirmed earlier this week that a loan is on the table and hinted at the reason behind it. Mikey's a big talent, Frank said, but young players need consistent first-team football. If we can find the right environment for that, we'll go for it. That environment might just be Ibrox. Imagine Moore linking up with the likes of Tom Lawrence, Todd Cantwell, and Rabbi Matondo in the attacking third. It adds a new dimension, more pace, more creativity, and potentially more goals. And while it's a straight loan, no buy clause means Rangers are getting a top-tier prospect without committing long-term finances. It's a low-risk, high-reward move if Moore delivers. Of course all this activity isn't happening in a vacuum. Injuries are already creeping in with new signings Kieran Dow and Hamza Igameni both missing the trip to Athens. Their availability for Saturday's opener at Fir Park is still up in the air, which only adds more pressure to get deals done fast. The first few weeks of any campaign are crucial. They set the tone. And right now, Rangers are sprinting to make sure they start on the front foot. Russell Martin knows better than anyone that this season isn't about slow builds or excuses. The expectations are sky high. The fans want silverware. They want European football beyond the qualifiers. And most of all, they want a squad that reflects the ambition of the badge. The Mikey Moore deal, if it gets over the line, could be a statement, not just of talent, but of intent. As the days tick down and the pressure ramps up, what's becoming clear is that Rangers aren't simply preparing for a new season. They're preparing for a new era. Russell Martin has made it obvious through his words and actions, this isn't about short-term fixes. It's about constructing a squad capable of challenging consistently, not only in Scotland, but also on the European stage. That means clearing out what no longer fits, bringing in what can elevate the group, and making smart decisions that blend experience with raw talent. And while the Mikey Moore deal grabs the headlines for all the right reasons, it's the overall transformation of the squad that deserves just as much attention. Martin isn't just building a team, he's building a culture, one where every player is here for a reason, where every shirt is earned, and where standards are non-negotiable. That's why players like Cifuentes, once seen as marquee additions, are now being moved on. Not because of personal failure, but because the profile no longer matches what the manager demands. If you're not pushing and not growing or not committed to the collective goal, there's no room. And it's not just on the pitch where change is happening. The conversations happening behind closed doors at Auchenhowie are intense. Rangers' recruitment team has clearly shifted its focus toward youthful, energetic profiles with technical quality and the hunger to develop. It's no coincidence that both JD Gassama and now Mikey Moore are being brought in. Players with upside, players who still have something to prove. And in the process, Martin is raising the ceiling of what this squad can achieve, not just for this season, but for seasons to come. One big takeaway from the past few weeks is how involved Martin is in every aspect of this rebuild. It's not a case of the manager making do with what's handed to him. He's actively involved in the scouting and the conversations and the final decisions. His fingerprints are all over this window. That level of engagement is what gives fans belief. Because even when results take time, supporters can see when there's a plan. And right now, Rangers have one, but it's not without its complications. Injuries, ongoing negotiations, and a demanding schedule all add layers of complexity. As mentioned earlier, new signings like Hamza Igamane and Kieran Dow have already been hit by setbacks. Their absence for the Athens trip highlights just how fine the margins are. Every player counts. Every option matters, especially when you're battling on 2 or even 3 fronts within weeks of the campaign starting, and that's why there's no time to rest. Rangers need to get every piece in place, and quickly. Russell Martin's interview earlier in the week shed light on his vision, but also on his realism. When asked about some of the players being linked, he didn't dodge the questions, but he didn't overpromise either. It's a subtle difference, but it speaks volumes. Martin knows the size of the task, but he's not interested in fantasy football. He wants players who are available, who fit the club, and who bring value. That's why deals like Mikey Moore's make sense. They're grounded in football reality, and they give Martin options, something he's going to desperately need as the matches come thick and fast. Let's not forget the sheer intensity of what's to come. Rangers are set to kick off their league campaign at Fir Park against Motherwell, a side that always makes life difficult, and sandwiched around at our European qualifiers that could define their season. These aren't just any matches, they're gateways to the Champions League group stage or the Europa League fallback. Financially, reputationally, and competitively, they carry enormous weight. It's why having depth in every position, including attacking midfield where Moore can operate, is non-negotiable. Meanwhile, backroom work continues on trimming the squad where necessary. As mentioned earlier, players like Cifuentes are being shopped for permanent exits, not temporary fixes. And others are following suit. McCausland's loan move to Cyprus shows that Rangers are also keen to give younger players a chance to develop in the right environment rather than let them stagnate on the fringes. But the focus isn't just about outgoings, it's about who steps up in their place. That's where names like Zach Lovelace, Ross McCausland, and Alex Lowry come back into the conversation. If Martin can create a culture where youth thrives under pressure, then the squad transformation will be more than just new signings. It'll be a full evolution. The truth is, this is a pivotal window for Rangers. Every decision made in these next few weeks has ripple effects for the next 10 months. The right signings could be the difference between a domestic title push and a trophyless campaign. The right sales could free up wages and make room for game changers. And the right mentality could create a squad that fans not only support but connect with because they see the hunger, the ambition, the fight. And speaking of hunger, there's one aspect that Martin has returned to repeatedly in interviews: mentality. It's clear he believes that beyond tactics and talent, it's mindset that makes a difference. He wants players who aren't just technically good, but who want to be at Ibrox, who understand what it means to pull on that jersey, who thrive under the weight of expectation rather than shrink from it. That's why the recruitment isn't only focused on technical ability, it's focused on character. Which brings us back again to Mikey Moore. Everything coming out of Tottenham suggests this kid is not just talented, he's grounded, hardworking, and hungry to play. And in many ways, Ibrox could be the perfect proving ground. A place where every game matters, where every pass is scrutinized, where pressure isn't just expected, it's welcomed. If Moore embraces that challenge, it could be a breakout year for him. And if he helps Rangers push deeper into Europe and closer to the top of the table, then it's a win for everyone involved. It's also worth noting how much Rangers are trying to do differently this time. There's been a clear shift away from high-risk, high-wage veterans in favor of smarter, sustainable deals. Yes, there will still be experienced players brought in where needed, but the days of short-term gambles seem to be over. That's part of what makes this window feel different. There's clarity, there's a strategy, and for once there's alignment from top to bottom. Manager, recruitment, and board all on the same page. But there's no time for self-congratulation. The margins this season are razor thin. Celtic remain the team to beat, and any slip-ups early on could put Rangers in a position of chasing, something they cannot afford if they want to dictate the title race. And that's why every decision this summer matters. Every training session, every match, every minute on the pitch. Russell Martin knows the spotlight is on. Every fan at Ibrox knows what's at stake. And now the players who new and old have to step up. Because Rangers aren't just trying to compete, they're trying to conquer. And that journey more than ever starts right now. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. There's a fresh murmur drifting through the corridors of Ibrox, and it's getting louder by the day. Word is RIDVAN YILMAZ, the talented but oft-injured left-back signed with much fanfare from Besiktas, could be edging closer to the Ibrox exit door. While there's no official word from the club or the player himself, speculation is mounting that his time in Glasgow might be coming to a close, and perhaps sooner than expected. The young Turkish international, once hailed as a long-term solution to Rangers' left-back slot, has had a somewhat turbulent time since making the switch to Govan in 2022. Arriving with bags of potential and a price tag that raised a few eyebrows in the Scottish game, believed to be around $5 million. Expectations were high. But for all his flashes of brilliance, consistent fitness and game time have been hard to come by. Now, with Rangers deep into preseason preparations and the Michael Bale era fully behind them, there's talk that the current coaching setup may be looking elsewhere to reinforce the flank. And with clubs in Turkey and possibly even mainland Europe said to be sniffing around, it wouldn't take much to imagine RIDVAN pondering a return to more familiar surroundings. Sources close to the player have remained tight-lipped, but insiders suggest RIDVAN has grown increasingly unsettled. He's understood to be keen on regular first-team football in the build-up to Euro 2028 qualifiers. And while he has no shortage of admirers at Ibrox, his role has never quite felt nailed down. Add to that the emergence of other options in his position, and the writing may well be on the wall. It's believed that at least one Super League side has made tentative inquiries. Though no formal offer has yet been tabled, Trabzonspor and Galatasaray are two names that have surfaced in hushed tones. But in the murky world of summer transfer dealings, little is ever certain until pen meets paper. Still, the allure of a return to Turkey, where RIDVAN remains highly rated and familiar with the rhythm of the league, could be tempting. His stint at Rangers has had its moments. Fans will recall his marauding runs down the flank and his silky left foot, capable of swinging in dangerous balls or firing off a cheeky effort from range. But those glimpses have often been fleeting. Whether through injury niggles, tactical shifts, or just bad timing, RIDVAN's Ibrox story has always felt just a bit incomplete. Whispers from within the dressing room hint that the lad has remained professional throughout. No tantrums, no transfer requests, just quiet determination and a focus on fitness. But sometimes professionalism isn't enough to keep a player grounded when they're not feeling truly part of the project. And let's not forget, football careers are short and playing minutes matter. Then there's the financial aspect. Rangers, like any club in Scotland's top flight, aren't immune to the temptation of recouping a decent fee, especially if the manager has other priorities for the war chest. Offloading RIDVAN, should the price be right, could free up funds for other targets. A midfielder with bite? Another center forward to challenge the rotation? The possibilities are as tantalizing as they are speculative. Of course, there's always the chance this all comes to nothing. RIDVAN may yet knuckle down, push for his place, and become the player many hoped he would be. A strong start to the season, a clean bill of health, and a bit of belief from the gaffer could be all he needs. And let's not forget, players have turned it around before in Glasgow, on both sides of the Old Firm divide. But if the buzz is to be believed, and in football there's usually fire where there's smoke, then we may be watching the final chapters of RIDVAN YILMAZ's Rangers. Tale unfold. Whether it's a heartfelt goodbye or just another twist in a transfer saga remains to be seen. For now, the rumor mill keeps turning and Ibrox waits with bated breath. Will RIDVAN stay and fight? Or is his future destined to play out elsewhere, under warmer skies and in a more familiar tongue? Watch this space. Greetings, fans. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.